All right, y'all. Welcome back to Culture Junkies Live. I am Kenshiro. That is
Mega Sean.
So we are a two-man crew today. These couches look really empty. GQ is out of town. He is in New York for work. Simon Says, as you saw from the intro, is fast asleep on his couch. And the great Adakuji is feeling a little bit under the weather. We send our best wishes to him. Hope he gets better. But we didn't want him. What, GQ?
Work, huh?
Yeah. Well,
No. Oh, he's a Indiana Pacer spy.
Oh, he's an Indiana Pacer spy.
Yeah,
what is that?
That's what he's been doing. He's a saboteur.
Oh, he's a saboteur.
A saboteur of the garden. If somebody goes back,
the Knicks don't need nobody to sabotage anybody. I mean, they can do it all themselves.
No, that's what he does.
Oh, that's what he does. Okay, I see.
He's been working in the background, making it happen. If you go back and you watch when they lost the leads and when the game was no longer theirs, he's somewhere behind the basket, posted and creeping. It's him.
That picture is just worth 1,000 words.
It's him.
Say what's up to the other Steve. Good to see you out here, sir. And all the other people that are joining on YouTube and on Twitch. Today we're going to be talking about Solo Leveling and the anime awards, how it dominated, and is the glazing a little bit
easy?
Is the glazing a little bit too
easy?
Much? We talking about The Witcher 3
as
well, 10-year anniversary.
Greatness.
We're going to be talking about EA unfortunately canceling the Black Panther game, first person game that they were going to be doing standalone. We're also going to be talking about the rumors about Spider-Man 4 Brand New Day. But we are going to be kicking today's show off with his thoughts and my thoughts on Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, which came out this last weekend. Now, unfortunately, on a 4-day Memorial Day weekend, it was not the #1 show. It was Lilo and Stitch, which was a surprise to me.
It's kids, man.
With kids, but even with Mission Impossible, you thought it would have done a little bit better. That doesn't necessarily mean it was a bad movie. I enjoyed the movie. Was it my favorite Mission Impossible? No, it was not. Was it a satisfying Mission Impossible? Absolutely, it was. For sure. What did you think of Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning?
It was Mission Impossible, a great conclusion to an epic franchise.
Is it a conclusion though?
That too, because the way it ended, who knows?
Who knows? Exactly.
The brother, I forgot his name.
The brother,
the black guy.
Oh, I have no idea what his name was.
Well, you should be.
I mean, hey, look,
but he's from Vine.
You didn't remember either.
He's from Vine.
Oh, is he?
He was a Vine.
He was a Vine star.
Yeah,
and he became and
I believe he had locks. And I said, I was in the theater. I said, there's still hope.
Right.
But yeah, he had locks or something like that. Clearly didn't look like that, but he clearly found the gym and got himself together. But yeah, he
So you saying he ain't gonna be on the Marvel side there, huh?
He'll probably fit the bill. No. I'm saying based off of how he looked on Vine.
Oh, okay.
He's gotten into some shape. But Tom Cruise seems to have
that man don't miss a step, man. He gonna be 60. He gonna be 70 years old doing these movies.
No, for sure. But I'm saying as far as an equal opportunity employer, even the guy Parnell, the dark skinned gentleman who was also in Top Gun.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that Tom said something to him about making sure, like, as long as I'm around, like, you'll have a role.
Okay.
So, listen, man. But no, anyway, I enjoyed the film. To your point, I wouldn't put it at the top, but it was very satisfying. Yeah. It was a solid conclusion. Usually I'd be like, okay, you could pull that off, but swimming
without an oxygen chute in the
frigid
water, not just frigid, but it was deep in the ocean,
and nobody could have. I've watched the I don't know if it was Netflix, it was some show I watched about those free divers and how far they go and what's the furthest down
a human body can go, right?
And listen, that man, as regards to Ethan Hunt, hasn't been practicing free diving anytime soon. And to be in, I don't even know what temperature water that would have had to have been, but deathly cold. Okay, Ethan.
Right.
You were dead.
Logically, it made zero sense for him to survive
movies,
that.
I could have been like, oh, all right, cool. The 7th, no.
But then you can think about there's plenty of situations that Ethan has found himself in that he should not have survived.
But not
that.
Nothing as bad as that.
Nothing as bad as that.
Said, wow.
This wasn't driving a Ferrari into space. Not a Ferrari, a Fiero into space. Like Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, no.
This wasn't that.
It was close though.
It was very close
because it was a choice to take the suit off.
Yeah, man.
And then from the easy.
No, the tension in that movie was pretty good. I felt like here's my slight disappointment with the movie. My slight disappointment in the movie was Esai Morales' Gabriel. Totally at the end, right? Because it was like I was waiting for the payoff. Like, why is this man got such a hard on for Ethan? They never really explained it, really at all.
They did not.
They never really went into the backstory of why he hates Ethan, why he did what, why he's constantly going. Did nothing. So I felt disappointed that didn't get resolved.
That's true.
Them killing, spoilers. I know. What's up with the Windex 121 in the building? Good to see you over here.
Appreciate you watching.
Honestly, them Ving Rhames' character, Luther, heroic end. He went out like a G. This movie did a really good job of making you feel like everybody was gonna buy it.
Yeah,
in a way, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Because you thought the stakes were that high that they did that. Now, I wish GQ was here so I could call that man a prophet and ask him to give me the lottery numbers. Because did he not call that agent from the first movie was going to end up being in this one, and he was going to?
Well, no, because he was in the previews.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing him in the previews.
Yeah, he saw him. He saw him in the previews. I never saw him
in the previews. Okay. I take it back.
But he was a G. He was a G though.
Yeah, he was a G,
and he wasn't even mad. Of him being sent to Siberia. Or whatever.
Would you have the mental fortitude to be able to forgive Ethan for shipping you off to Alaska?
I mean, he didn't do that though.
Technically, he did.
Kittredge did it.
Kittredge did it, but it was a result of what Ethan did.
His job.
Right? What, Ethan did his job?
He had to get that. He had to get that
unsanctioned IMF thing. He did that on his own,
but to save the day. And as they've said 3 or 4 times in the film, there's many things you've done that we didn't want you to do,
right?
But we needed you to do,
right, in
the long run. So he saved several lives with that whole knockless situation. Mm-hmm. But then how they kind of turned it all around, and then it was all on him. Like, wait a minute, I did this, and I was like,
it was a weird thing to have this thought that all of the things that have happened over the course of most of these movies is a result of Ethan's own actions, right? Going all the way back to Mission Impossible 1, stealing the knock list. Mission Impossible 3, stealing the guys.
And that was the one that
led to the entity. Now, the ending. I don't know how you feel about the ending. The biplane scene was pretty cool. I don't know how you feel about the ending and the ambivalence of it all. Is the series over? Is it not over? If you had to venture a guess, I never thought it was going to end because it's just too good. But what do you think? After you saw the movie,
yeah, probably a break.
Probably a break.
Okay.
I
mean, but to get this young guy in there and then that'd be it. But hey,
I don't see him.
Heck of a thing to put on a resume. Top Gun.
It is.
And then probably he'll be in the other Top Gun. Top Gun, Mission Impossible 6 and 7.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Marcus A64, thank you for re-upping your subscription over there on Twitch. Appreciate you, sir. 53 months. He's one of our longest supporters. We appreciate you, sir, very much. All right, so Mission Impossible, this is the 8th movie, right?
I thought it was the 7th, but
I think it's the 8th.
Wow. Oh yeah, so the 7 and 8. Yeah, so 7 and 8.
7 and 8. What would you give it if you had to rank it out of 5? What would you give it?
3.5, 4.
It's fair. I think I would do the same.
Because I don't like.
I think I would do the same.
If somebody was like, "Hey, Mission Impossible Fallout is on," I'd be like, all right, cool. Or if the one with Philip Seymour Hoffman or Ghost Protocol is on, all right, cool. This one, I might be like, all right, I might.
Ultimately, I feel like
I might be there. And also, it was long.
It was maybe a little too long in certain areas.
I mean, the airplane scene.
Yeah.
I appreciated it.
I did too.
Because of it's him attached to that plane.
Man, he is a crazy man.
Oh, without question.
He is a crazy man.
Without question. He's trying to die.
Yes, he clearly is trying to die. Or he's got some kind of addiction. He's got an adrenaline junkie addiction or something. Like, I don't.
What if he's been making all these movies all the time trying to die? And it just hasn't. He just hasn't been successful.
He misses Katie Holmes that much. Huh?
Like
I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I'm just kidding,
right.
Tom. I'm just kidding, man. Anyway, so no, man, 3.5. I kind of agree with you. 3.5. Definitely not one of the. Would you put it in the top 5? Mission Impossible?
No, because we had already discussed
we
the top 5.
3, but we said top 3.
Top
would you put it in top 5?
No, no.
I'd say it's right outside.
Yeah, and that's not a bad thing. It's just how much more I enjoy those other 5.
Ones. Yes, I totally agree with you on that. You guys go ahead, share your thoughts on Mission Impossible in the chat, and we will definitely respond to them maybe a little bit later on in the show. We got to keep it moving along. So the next thing I kind of wanted to talk about is just this past week, CD Projekt Red, who announced Cyberpunk is coming, a sequel in pre-production, put out a video to celebrate the Witcher 3's 10-year anniversary. You were a big fan of the Witcher 3.
One of the greatest games ever created.
Ever created.
3.
3.
Witcher 3.
Witcher 3. Not Witcher 2, not Witcher 1, Witcher 3. Considered one of the greatest games probably of all time. Put out a nice little video. Made me almost think that they were going to remaster the game and put it back out. I wouldn't be mad at that if they did it.
Especially now that I've got a PC as well.
Yeah, like The Witcher 3 with Cyberpunk level graphics.
But they did. They didn't do. It wasn't necessarily a remaster, but it got a quality. For the Series X, it got a quality
graphic upgrade.
Yes.
Okay.
And still looked it looked even more fantastic. Just a phenomenal game. And I'm not even a RPG sorcery RPG MMO whatever type gamer, but
what was it about it that made it appeal to you so much?
Just the combat scheme I enjoyed. It was something new to me, learning like even from the pairing standpoint, and then you had to, as far as mastering the magic and then collecting different suits, that you have,
the armors and
right,
stuff like that,
the Viper School and School of the Wolf and all of that, and just because you could one shot people. Depending on how good you were, how much you leveled up your character with your sword play or with your magic. And the story was a compelling story from start to end, learning about Trish and Ciri and Yennefer and then his homeboy.
Vesemir.
Thank you. And, not a lot of games I play that have nudity.
Yes.
And, Geralt was
Geralt got around, bro.
Yeah, he's definitely a ladies' man.
Yes, he is.
But just a phenomenal. Like when I tell you, locked in. Like I take care of business, go to work, do whatever I needed to do. But when that Xbox was cut on,
he's right.
Game.
Your young brother just said the same thing. He was like, he was on The Witcher 3 every weekend.
Man, listen, they
loved that game.
Weekend during the week.
Yeah,
but that game was phenomenal.
I listened to this man in Xbox Live in my ear as we was playing Battlefield. He was like, "Hey, Ken, you need to get on that Witcher 3."
Bro, man, it was
you need to
just
get on
an amazing game.
Yeah, it was
a
great game.
One game where I had to kill this baby, and in order to set the baby free from there was a curse put upon the family, and you had to go and dig. Oh, it was a
lot of moral dilemmas, a lot of stuff you had to deal with.
Fighting dragons and goblins. Yeah. It just
now for
amazing.
me, I didn't end up playing The Witcher 3.
Unacceptable.
I didn't play it until actually. It's not that I didn't want to play it. I didn't go out of my way to play it, right? But what sold me on The Witcher and the universe was watching the first season of The Witcher. Now, as someone who was just getting into that lore, that universe, being exposed to that Netflix series, when I tell you I binged that shit in a day and watched it again and again and again and again because it was so good. I really loved Geralt as a character. I loved Henry Cavill as Geralt.
Toss your coin to the Witcher.
Oh man, that yes. All of that was great. Made me want to hop on the game right away, and I was not disappointed. It was a great experience.
The game or the show?
Both, actually.
Well, you played the game.
Yeah, I did.
You finished it.
I did not finish it. I did play the game. Yes.
Then you got the DLC, the blood and wine.
I'm looking forward to doing
it all.
All of that. Yes.
I beat it all.
Yes, it is. I was not disappointed at all.
It's a great, amazing game, and looked phenomenal. You could swim. You could do everything.
By the time I played it, it was already like 6 or 7 years old.
Oh,
by the time I played it, I was like, wow, this is visually, this game is amazing. So
they put and then when they got it, where you could get your hair cut. Listen, that was my
everything
guy,
about
Geralt
it was
Rivia.
it was really good. I loved the decision system, because obviously the choices you make in the dialogue will affect the story later. So you got to be really mindful of that. I always enjoy games like that basically make your choices have consequences, which is
like at the arcade when you running down the halls with Bruce Willis, and if you missed the punch.
Oh yeah, and Die Hard Arcade.
That's not what you're talking about, dog.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. That is not what I'm talking about. No, that is not what I'm talking about. No, not that at all. So all of you out there in the chat, if you got memories of The Witcher 3, you want to talk about The Witcher 3, if you haven't played The Witcher 3, which I don't know why you haven't, you need to check that out. Get ready for The Witcher 4, which is getting ready to come out within the next year or two. I know this man is agonizing. He wants to play it right
It's been 10 years.
He wants to play it right. Hey, that man had to do Cyberpunk.
No, they did.
Yes, they did. No. Yes, they did. They had to do Cyberpunk, and they did not disappoint. Anyway, getting back on track. Let's move. Let's keep the show moving. Moving at a nice brisk pace here. So the next thing I kind of want to talk about is let's touch on this. No, because I feel like that's going to be a little too contentious. We'll talk about that right now. Let's talk about this rumor of the Spider-Man Brand New Day rumor that is out there, that is saying that it's a rumor. It's not coming from any of the major trades or anything like that. It's not been sourced by like Deadline or Variety or the Hollywood Reporter. It's literally just a rumor, but it's coming from sources that have been right on some pretty big scoops. They're saying that Marvel has tagged Mark Ruffalo to be Dr. Banner in Spider-Man Brand New Day as it's more than just a cameo. He is going to be a co-star of the same level as you would say maybe Robert Downey Jr. in Spider-Man Homecoming. I don't know necessarily how you feel about that. I know me personally, I feel a little disappointed by them doing that. I think them being able to do a fresh new start, get him away from needing to have the MCU co-stars. Not that I hate Mark Ruffalo. I'll always take Mark Ruffalo or anybody from the MCU, but I thought this was a good opportunity for them to establish a more grounded, Spider-Man in the MCU without needing him being propped up by Doctor Strange or him being propped up by Iron Man or anybody else. The only movie that has not starred or even Nick Fury, not having anybody of any major import from the larger MCU not being involved with a Spider-Man movie. When you hear this, what do you think?
Two things.
Yeah.
We got those movies before the MCU.
I agree.
We had Toby, and then we had what's that guy's name?
Andrew Garfield.
Thank you. And we had Andrew Garfield, and we had that. So you would prefer return to that?
I would prefer it return to. He exists in a larger MCU.
For sure.
But he doesn't need to have them as a co-star to make people go and see it.
For sure.
Right?
For sure, because he's Spider-Man.
Right. He's Spider-Man. He doesn't need, and he's got more than enough of his own shit going on that he doesn't need them to kind of help the story along.
But they're in Manhattan.
Not everybody. The Hulk typically isn't always in Manhattan, right?
Well, as far as those movies go, Manhattan. I'm saying I agree with you, but I'm just saying from a movie standpoint, they're in a major city.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't
they? I mean, because I just feel like this is, again, a good opportunity for them to establish, Peter Parker on his own.
For sure.
More than likely, if they're gonna do this right, I'm assuming they're gonna have a time jump. He'll either be in college or he'll have finished college. And maybe they don't want to go back to that school setting type thing.
I would hope
maybe
not.
He's trying to enter the workforce, and he gets a job like Bruce has started up. Maybe he works for Horizon Labs, which is something that was coming out of the comic books, and he ends up working with Bruce Banner on a project, which would give reason for Bruce to be there. Because he's not like a professor at a school. Because Bruce at this point would be way too famous to do that. He'd be way too famous in the MCU to be stuck as a tenured professor at Empire State University. He'd be working in some kind of professional capacity.
But obviously nobody knows who Peter Parker is anymore.
Correct. So Bruce stumbles upon him. Man, putting your emotes out there.
Hey now, wow. Say now. He know what it is.
Oh man, okay. Anyway, I could see that being a possibility for him to work as a co-star in that capacity, but I just hope that it stays a grounded Spider-Man film that doesn't necessarily need the Hulk. Because again, some people were saying that we just got that with Captain America: Brave New World.
So, but to answer the second part of my two-part, who cares?
Who cares? A lot of people care.
I don't want to see Mark Ruffalo because I'm tired because they ruined the Hulk, and I don't want to see him. I don't want to see this small ass Hulk. I don't want to see Professor Hulk.
You don't want to see Scar?
If I don't get Ed Norton, like that Hulk,
the Savage,
the one that
Savage Rampage,
the one that could fight the Abomination, keep it.
Okay.
Now, if it's just Bruce Banner, and he's filling the role of Dr. Connors, or who else did he work? Who did he work with in video games?
Octavius.
Or if it's Doc, why not Doc Ock?
Because we had Doc Ock twice already.
What about Professor? Did he work with Connors in any other movies?
In the second one, yes, he did.
The second one?
He didn't work with him. He worked with Connors. Was his professor.
He was Tobey Maguire.
Yeah,
right.
Connors was his professor.
So
and Kirk Connors was in the Andrew Garfield one, so they've done the Lizard multiple times.
Yeah, that Lizard was, but yes, you're right. So, but in the books, he works with Bruce Banner.
No.
So this is just something they just pulling out of their butt.
Yeah.
Oh well.
And again, if it's on a consultation, type of slant where Peter's working at a job and let's say Bruce gets called in as a consultant and he's working with Bruce on this project, that's different, right?
Right.
That's not quite the same thing.
For sure.
But I think there's going to be the expectation if Banner is there, you're going to get the Hulk in some kind of some way. Some people are saying that maybe this is going to be a path to them decoupling.
Where's Venom exactly?
Who knows? I have no idea what's going to happen with that. But maybe this is going to be a path of them maybe decoupling, Smart Hulk and basically unfusing the two personalities, and we're going to get rampaging, Hulk again. But again, having that so close to Captain America: Brave New World, there's a little bit of redundancy
for sure. For sure, because he doesn't, even his school doesn't know who he is, right? Like he's essentially homeless,
persona non grata. Essentially, yes. Yeah, and I don't know how that whole thing's gonna work. I'm looking forward to them figuring that part of it out.
Sweeping up hair at a barbershop.
Could be.
And Bruce is coming in to get a cut, and he drops some paper.
I don't know,
he drops a paper out of his pocket
with some
lab.
equations.
Yeah, and he's like, oh yeah.
He's like, oh man,
if you just put this right here, and he's like, whoa, how did you know that?
Right, you're brilliant. You need to come work with me. I mean, there
you go.
Yeah, I don't know. We've seen that, but. Again, I don't know how you guys feel about it. The chat isn't really saying a lot of things. Guys, get it up and get it up there. Let's get a little bit of commentary. I'd love to hear from you guys what you think of the rumor of Mark Ruffalo co-starring in Spider-Man: Brand New Day. This is just a rumor. It's not confirmed. Nothing's confirmed, but it's just a rumor. Would love to get your thoughts on that and a little bit more. Now let's pivot. We got 2 more topics to cover.
For sure.
let's go with the title card. Let's talk about Solo Leveling's dominance in the Anime Awards this past weekend. The Anime Awards were in 2025. 2025 were in Tokyo this past weekend. And Solo Leveling dominated the competition.
Rumors are
winning, count them. Let's look it up
please,
here.
Please.
Count them. It won 1.
Yes.
2.
Yes.
3.
Yes.
4.
Yes.
5.
Yes.
And 6 of the about 13 or 14 awards.
And
almost half.
What were the main 3?
The main 3?
Yeah. Obviously, Game of the Year.
Anime of the Year was one.
Thank you. Anime of the Year.
Anime of the Year, Best Score, Best Character, Best New Series, Best Ending Sequence, Best Action Anime. It won them all. And for some people, they are accusing Solo Leveling of winning because it's overly popular. Now, you as someone that doesn't consume a large amount of anime,
bingo,
was asking me about, hey, is Solo Leveling on the Watchtower?
Wherever it's on.
And I said, yes, it is, both seasons. And he said, okay, you finished it in how long?
Probably a day or two.
2 days.
Maybe 3. I'll say 3 at the most.
Being generous, 3 days.
I had to play games.
But
3 at the most.
For you being a anime casual, sorry.
Easy.
Anime
Easy.
casual.
Whoa. First of all,
anime casual.
I've watched everything that is required viewing.
That
I have seen a gazillion times.
But you're not out there fishing for new stuff. You wait for recommendations, correct?
I have movies to watch and games to play.
No, I hear
and maybe you would play more games if you wasn't watching all this puke anime left and right.
Puke?
If it ain't Kakarot, save it.
See, that's casual.
That's
a casual perspective. Anyway,
it's great.
Do not disrail this topic. Anyway, so
derail or disrail?
Derail the topic. Now, so for you to get with a show this fast, it obviously had some punch. It gripped you.
Yes.
How many episodes did it take for you to be like, oh shit, this is?
So it seems to be a track record of mine. I had a nap from about 1 to 4. But I started watching them at like 1 in the morning or something like that. But then once I went back, kind of like 4 or 5 or 6,
knocked them out
4 or 5 or 6 at a time.
Yeah.
Like so whenever I stopped to watch TV, that's what I was watching.
Oh, okay. All right. So you would say from episode 1, it kind of had you hooked. After you were really able to pay attention.
Yes, because I enjoyed the premise of the show.
Yeah.
I genuinely liked the aspect of, like, hey, you're an S, you're an A, you can work up
the video game aspect of it.
That was pretty awesome to me.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, for the main character, for him to be a bottom tier and, but because of his heart and nobility and sacrifice, given the opportunity.
Sacrifice is right.
Yes, man. Given the opportunity to do the work, and then just me as a viewer, like, man,
it was gripping.
I'm just saying, like, gripping. If it was me, like, I saw myself in that, like,
so it resonated with you on that because you were like, okay, yeah,
that's what I would do.
Again, I
can go a little further. I guess I'll keep going, and then I get a little bloop. Hey, Sean, you did great today.
Right.
Here's a bonus, 10 pounds of muscle and speed or endurance or to your vertical leap or whatever. And I'm like, wow. And it just gives you the incentive to just keep growing and keep going.
Now, this is one for you and everybody else out there. Would you have tapped out from the daily quest that they had?
No,
the punishment quest with the sandworms?
No, I would have knocked them out.
Oh, you would have knocked them out?
Oh, man.
Even from where Jinwoo was at the beginning?
Yeah.
With no extra power. Man, come on now.
Well, no.
That's what I'm saying.
No, I'm saying when he was fighting, what was that? What was the things that killed him?
Oh, the statues.
Yeah.
After that. Okay.
Yeah. After I knew, like for me, if you told me these are the 40 things you have to do in order to be the greatest actor ever, I'm going to do whatever the 40 is to get there.
No, I hear that.
You know, so he had the incentive to keep pushing and to keep growing, and he reached the limits, and for the most part, was humble the entire time. Like being the most powerful person in this world and not seeming to have an ego about it. You know, like he had like a great, like a quiet confidence, but it was never like, you know, for him, it was, hey man, like y'all just sit down. Right. I got it. Cause he just didn't want nobody to die.
Right.
You know what I mean? But he was amazing.
Mr. Cam, saying you're surprised to hear that we watched Solo is a great show so far. Why are you surprised? Like, I am an avid anime watcher. Of course I watched it. Oh, I'll let you say that. I can't say that. I'll let you say that. But anyway.
He said so far.
Yeah.
Let's let you know. I don't even think he's even finished it. He talking about so far.
Oh, well.
Okay. And then if he's going off of season 1 and season 2, there's no so far about it. That ant.
Yeah. Beru is ain't no joke. I wish I was there with you. I was like, because I would have told you what was coming. I was like, Beru, when Beru get there, oh man, it's the truth. Anyway, so Solo Leveling is a really good show, but the some people are saying it's undeserved because they feel like it's a overly popular anime, and I feel like the reason why it won was because of its popularity, but it had a unique release window that allowed it to be that, because it won for best new anime. The Anime Awards just happened this past Sunday. Within the past calendar year and a half, Solo Leveling has released 2 seasons. Like the first season came out in January of 2024. The second season came out in January 2025. How it got to qualify as new anime, even though it's 2 seasons in, makes no sense to me. But it did. 24 episodes, split into 2 seasons, and great action, great animation,
good story,
great character design. Oh, by the way,
the great score,
not just great score. By the way, it didn't win just for best new anime, best action series. It also got best English or best dubs. It got the best dub. Like all the dubs, like the English dub, the Cantonese dub, like all the dubs, it got the best dub too. Which is crazy. So, and it was against okay, I'm gonna read off for those of you out there. I'm gonna read off. This is the list of anime that it was up against for Anime of the Year. Dandadan, which I thought was gonna win. Frieren, which I thought was going to win. Apothecary Diaries, which I thought was a serious Anime of the Year contender. Solo Leveling I knew was going to be on the list, but I didn't think it would win because it's an action show. Action shows typically never win Anime of the Year. Solo Leveling did.
Has anything in
Kaiju number 8?
That Kaiju number 8,
was
a good watch.
Yeah, that's a great. These are all great shows.
In we'll say in the last 5 years. Of your anime watching, has anything been that popular?
No.
Had that type of
buzz? No. Which is again why I understand why it won, because Solo Leveling has what it takes to be a crossover hit, right? For most casual, and I'm sorry, I have to say it, for most casual anime watchers, especially young black males, there is nothing that gets them to watch anime faster than throwing hands.
Well, no, I can tell you if there's some bare breasts.
Oh, there's that too. There's that too. There's that too. But throwing hands is reason why Dragon Ball has persisted as long as it has.
Nobody wants to see all this talking and dragging out.
Exactly.
Let's go.
Exactly. So when Solo Leveling does this and it has a decidedly RPG / video game slant to it,
come on, man,
that people are going to want to resonate with, that's why it won. So I totally get that. Does it deserve it?
Yes.
Some people will say no, it should have been One Piece. Or as Preem was saying before, he feels like this was an anti-One Piece vote. Here's the other thing, right?
1,000 episodes, 1,200 episodes. Yeah. This brings more
the
eyes, and that's what they want, the eyeball.
To your point, it has dethroned One Piece as the most highest rated Crunchyroll property, and it did it in far less time.
So what are we talking about?
I don't know. It did it in far less time. So I mean,
it took 1,200 or 1,000 episodes for One Piece to do. It did it in 24.
One Piece has done it. Has ridden the wave. Has been at the top of the pyramid for years.
That's because Solo hadn't came out yet.
All it takes.
Get off the top.
All it takes is that one popular anime to dethrone. Now, does that mean One Piece is less of a show? Obviously not. It's got its fans. The One Piece
that's
season
the Monkey
2.
King, right?
Yeah, Luffy.
I hate that show.
Why?
Because he's not the king of anything.
Oh wow, he's the king of the pirates.
What? Who? Them 3 people that are his friends? That's why I've never understood it. Like, what is he the king of?
Yeah, I guess so.
Don't be like that.
Don't be like that. Okay,
I'm just saying. What is he the king of?
I mean, honestly, man, the show deserves its flowers because it is a super popular anime, and I know it's good. This is my barometer for if a show is good.
Okay.
Here's how I rate how good a show is or a new IP is. How fast it can get me to read the manga because I can't wait. I need to have it all. Solo Leveling did that in 3 episodes. Like after watching 3 episodes, I sought out the manga and blitzed that thing just like you did in 2 days. I blitzed it in 2 days. I didn't sleep.
Was it better? Than the anime?
I mean, it just gave me the story.
Okay.
It gave me the story.
Gotcha.
Now, as a webtoon, it is a phenomenal webtoon. It's probably the most popular webtoon on the planet right now.
What is a webtoon?
Webtoons are serialized online comics that basically people they're not in book form. They literally are just released digitally. Online. Yeah. So they're completely original. They don't have any web novel source. They don't have any light novel source. They're completely original from the creation of their creators. So it's literally just a comic that's released online. Solo Leveling is probably the most popular webtoon on the planet going right now. Tower of God used to have that. Solo Leveling took its crown.
So why wouldn't it win all the awards?
I'm not saying it's not worthy. I'm not saying it's not worthy. It is very worthy. And man, when I tell you, there is so much more coming. Like down the line.
So how far are you then?
Where season 2 ended is probably the end of the. If you would consider Solo Leveling something in 4 arcs, that's the end of the 2nd arc.
And you've read 4 of them already.
I've read all of Solo Leveling.
Oh, so for you, you're done.
I'm done with Solo
You're just
Leveling.
Waiting on the anime
I'm waiting
to
the
catch
animation.
Up.
Yes, I'm done. Okay. I've been done for over a year. Over a year, I've been done.
So you have this digitally.
Oh yeah, I got it. It's all online. I've read the story. It is a phenomenal story, and I'm telling you what's coming next. Woo!
Somebody better than that ant.
Woo! Yeah. The enemies get even harder.
But then he has all of the people that he's beat. That ant.
He gets
that Red Knight.
Oh
man,
it gets.
Okay, well, I'm excited.
Even crazier.
I'm excited.
So here's the other thing about that, right? The other thing about Solo Leveling is the creator just recently came out because you know you don't know. Obviously, you don't know. It has a sequel already, and the webtoon for the sequel is already out. It's progressing. It's currently publishing.
They just had to find somebody to do the animation, right? That was for season 3.
But I'm just saying, no. What I'm saying is the manga, the webtoon, has a sequel already. Solo Leveling Ragnarok, which follows his son. He's gonna have a son, and he takes up the son becomes the main protagonist.
Even though his dad is in the show as well,
yes.
was in the manga.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's gonna have a son. Jinwoo's gonna have a son, and it follows his son. The creator of Solo Leveling said, "What you're watching, what I read, is a prologue.
Oh.
I mean, what does that tell you? He says he's got so much more coming.
As long as it's
good.
Well, as long as it was all in his head at the same time.
Oh yeah,
like usually
it's good.
Yeah. Usually when they get something that's based off the success,
I'm telling you, it's good.
Okay.
It's going to be great. So now I don't know what other people are going to say about Solo Leveling didn't deserve best character because Jinwoo won best character. I don't know what they're going to say about best score because it won best score.
I enjoyed the score.
I mean, but over some of the songs and things that were out here, it was hard for me to believe that it won, but it did because, man, it's
gotta give the people what they want. Man.
Yeah, you do got to give the people what they want, and I'm sure this is Solo Leveling is approaching, if it hasn't surpassed Demon Slayer yet, it's rapidly on that ascent.
So I have a question about
that. Go ahead.
No, not about that. Just as far as anime for you all, right?
Yeah.
So if I would be considered a casual,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
Now where it's at now, where you've got half naked women on Twitter talking about me or the anime or this is what I read, and now everyone seems to be assimilating.
Mm-hmm.
To anime,
mm-hmm.
whether it's marketing, whether mm-hmm. they're trying to get some kid to come goon on their OnlyFans, whatever the case may be. Yeah. How does that, and then now with the result of, with the accolades that Solo Leveling received,
mm-hmm.
does that tarnish your what it's supposed to? Does it take away some of the purity of when you fell in love with anime 20, 30 years ago?
No, not at all. Because the fandom is what it is, right? Whether it was, the fandom is always going to have its perverse members. I mean, we've had that since going back in the day with the Slave Leia costumes, with Star Wars, mm-hmm. The advent of cosplay with comic books back in the late 90s, early 2000s, where you had girls dressing up, a sexy, Spider-Man or Spider-Girl, Batgirl, costumes, Pokemon and stuff like that.
Right.
That side is always going to be there, right? That side it has nothing to do with the product itself, right? You can always separate those people that are out there looking to cater to the lowest common denominator. You don't necessarily have to associate yourself with that, right? The way I look at it, whether you're a casual or not, I've always looked at fandom as this isn't a gatekeeping type thing for me, right?
Okay.
There's enough anime for everybody out there. You don't have to play favorites and say, oh, well, you're not a real fan if you don't watch Ninja Scroll, or you're not a real fan if you haven't watched Project Echo, or you're not a real fan if you haven't grown up watching the original Berserk, not the new one, or the original Ranma 1/2 and not the remake. You're all an anime fan. It doesn't matter where you get in. It matters that you're in. Okay. Now, some people may not go out of their way to watch subs because you're always on the lookout for new shows to watch. Some people are more like saying, I'll just wait for new shows to be fed to me. Okay. I'm not going to go out looking for them. That's kind of why I say you're a bit of a casual in that. That's fine. In that you don't go out seeking the shows, but if someone tells you about a show, you'll watch it.
Oh
right?
Yeah, it had a lot of motion, man.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas me, I don't get enough of watching new anime shows. I'm at my anime list looking at new releases for the next season and what's coming up and picking what I'm going to watch next season, right? Other people aren't doing that, right? But that's what makes me more of a fan, more of an enthusiast than other people, right? So no, it doesn't tarnish it for me.
Okay.
All right. So now let's turn our attention to the last topic, which is the unfortunate announcement of the cancellation and shuttering, cancellation of the Black Panther, standalone video game, and the shuttering of the studio that was doing that by Electronic Arts. They did this in what they're claiming to be as a cost-saving, cost-efficiency measure. Nothing had come out about the game. No no early stills, no video. All we ever got was that one teaser image showing, the Black Panther symbol, with the vibranium background that they had, right?
Yeah.
That's the only thing we ever got about this game.
Which that could be done in
exactly
with the right PC.
That, right?
Do that with some AI.
Yeah.
And
anybody can do that.
Yeah,
anybody can do that. So
2 years.
Yeah, and I know you have, you feel a certain kind of way about Black Panther and even this cancellation. So I'm gonna give you a lot of the latitude to, get your thoughts out about the news of this cancellation, and I've got to talk about this, and then I'll come back with the next aspect of this question I'm going to ask you.
I think a lot of people were excited for the game because remember the bad good game, the Marvel.
Oh, Marvel Avengers. Yes, I loved that game.
Right.
Yeah.
So obviously I enjoyed the Black Panther character. Yeah,
I did too.
And so in my mind it would have been that, just more focused on him, better graphics.
Yeah.
He's doing whatever missions. You got Claw, you got Man Ape, you've got so many different battles he could have. His interaction with the Fantastic Four, Doom, Namor.
Yeah.
Right, all of these interactions. And I think just across the board, Black people, white people, just gamers across the board,
they love Black Panther.
Would have really appreciated a great game. So, but in 2 years, for there to be nothing from what we know,
right?
I don't know what's on somebody's hard drive,
right,
somewhere at the now shuttered developers, but for me, I just feel like it was never going to get made in the first place, and it was just something, just like a little, like them pandering to us, to a degree. Again, I don't have any proof
concrete
of that,
proof,
like I had with my Nintendo Switch facts, with my Switch 2 stuff,
right?
But just in my feelings that they just put it out there, and I don't know if it's got swept up in the DEI situation, like maybe whatever funding, or write-offs they would have got, now they're not, because there was 3 games they were supposed to be making in this collaboration, with EA and Marvel. Two of them are still in production: the Iron Man game, and then the joint Captain America Black Panther game, right? Isn't that no,
EA
I
too?
think that's somebody else.
That's somebody else.
I think that's somebody else.
Okay. But the Iron Man game is still going on. Yeah.
And that game was his father, so that wasn't even T'Challa.
Right, that wasn't
in that game.
T'Challa.
Right. So to have the Iron Man property still going, to have the rest of their normal slate still going, we got a new Battlefield coming, which looks great. But if they had taken these people 2 years ago and dedicated these people, so this studio only existed to make this one property, and all we see is a background of a shield.
I mean, let me read this quote to you guys out there, so you can kind of get a little bit of a further inkling of where EA's head at was with this, right? So they said EA said they canceled the game and closed the studio because the publisher is moving away from development of future licensed IP that we do not believe will be successful in our changing industry. You have to read between the lines to what he's saying, because let's break down what she said. Do not believe will be successful in our changing industry. Now, when you hear changing industry, your point about the DEI attacks from the current president and the wave of anti-DEI sentiment,
which has nothing to do with us,
nothing to do with us technically, right?
Like it's not us,
right?
But people assume it's us,
correct?
Because we're Black,
right?
I don't know.
Yeah. So they're saying that they don't want to put money or time or effort into developing a game that may trigger some kind of a backlash. In the same kind of industry that just saw Assassin's Creed by Ubisoft get released, get hate bombed, but vastly outperform the hate, and left the haters in the dust, because all the people really cared about was the game. That's all they cared about. And they're saying they fixed their mouths to say that a Black Panther game would generate zero interest from people or not be worth the trouble a Black Panther standalone game. The same Black Panther that I heard white teenagers in the background for the trailer for Civil War be like, oh, that's Black Panther. Excitement. And they fixed their mouths to say that? What? I don't understand.
Still making Iron Man.
Part, yeah. Now
they're still making Skate. They're still making
Jedi 3.
Jedi 3.
Yep.
They're everything else for them. Obviously Madden.
Right.
Obviously. So yeah, everything. They're still doing everything. I believe it's a couple of online properties or cell phone games.
Right.
I believe and this
right. But they canceled this. They chose this to cancel.
Yeah.
Which again feeds into your feelings about it. Now, the only thing I can say about the Iron Man game is at least that is being developed by a non-junior studio. Which again, if you're gonna do a Black Panther game, why are you gonna give it to a startup or an inexperienced studio to handle if you didn't have a intention of really developing the game? That feeds into what you're saying and what you're talking about. I'm with you on there.
Yeah.
Because Motive is the studio behind Dead Space. You know they know how to release a game.
Yeah.
You know they know how to release a game.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you give it to a Respawn? Why wouldn't you give it to one of these other
that has a staff that has a track record
for delivering, not just making a game, delivering? I don't get it. So EA deserves all the smoke for that. But my second prong of this question is feeding into your conspiracy theory. You have a feeling about. I want to ask you, and I want to ask everybody else out there.
What's going on, Dragon? Sorry.
Is there a T'Challa erasure thing going on here?
That's what it feels like. That, from Shuri taking over, them not seeming to want to recast. He's been losing Wakanda every 5 books, whether it's Doom, whether it's Namor, who he was. And I'm saying prior to Chadwick.
We're talking Reginald Hudlin,
yes, Priest. Like he was as smart as Reed, more money than Tony Stark. That was, and could beat both that was who he was.
He was peak black man.
And now it, even in Marvel Rivals, he's he's not. Listen, so that's the only time I'm gonna ever bring it up on here. Season 1 in December
of Rivals.
In Rivals, he's nerfed. Right, Season 1 in December they nerf him. Right.
When did the game release?
Probably maybe a month or two before that.
Wow.
Right. So he's nerfed Season 1. There's been plenty of character adjustments since then.
Right.
There's been nerfs. There's been nerfs. There's been buffs for every character.
But him.
That needs it.
Right.
Certain characters they've kind of got right, and the balancing is good. Guess which character they have not touched since December?
Black Panther.
Now, if across the board, no matter your race, no matter your religion, whatever you feel, if this is a universally liked character and respected character, by all people,
by all accounts,
and 6 months has went by,
and you haven't buffed
and he hasn't been touched,
not once.
And you've had people that have gotten two buffs, 3 buffs. You've got people in the game that are out of control, just doing what they want to do as a character.
I heard Ultron's crazy, bro.
Well, he drops in 2 days.
Okay.
Ultron drops in 2 days, and like the game is very anti-dive. And his entire movement set is diving or dashing. And at this point, it seems every character can counter his dash, which then makes him useless. Exactly.
What?
And they have team ups in the game, right?
Yeah.
So
they took his away though, right?
No, they took part of it away.
Okay.
But so you had Storm
And T'Challa?
with you had Storm with Thor, right? And then
that makes sense.
Storm with Thor, and then they brought out, and then they changed it, and then there was Storm and Johnny Storm.
Human Torch?
Yes. They would have like a flaming tornado.
All right.
And then now it will be Storm and Jeff the Shark, right? And T'Challa's team up was with Magic. And then I'm just telling you, man. And so, but Reed's in the game. Reed's in the game, and him and the entire Fantastic Four, they have their team up. Clearly, he has one with his wife.
Does he?
Yeah. So why, if Reed and Sue have their team up, and all these other characters, Magneto had one with Scarlet Witch, and so on and so forth, and no,
not T'Challa though.
Just with Magic.
Just with Magic.
Yeah, with Magic. So I'm not saying it, but it looks like
all the appearances make it seem
is
like
that they're just trying to now. Because the books are the books.
The books are the books.
And what do they always say? If you want to hide something from somebody, put it in the book. So hopefully the books continue to, but then I've heard people complain about certain books. Now, but you've told me he's got 3 or 4 different books out. But
so not to totally counter your argument, right?
Sure.
Not to totally counter your argument, but from the book standpoint, one of the more successful Marvel lines going right now is Hickman's Ultimate Universe. He's not writing Black Panther, but Black Panther has one of the only solo books in his universe. His Ultimate Black Panther is very well written, very well drawn.
That's the one where him and Storm, right?
Yes.
And he's got the mouth exposed.
The mouth exposed.
What the hell is going on?
I don't know, man. I can't
What is
tell
up
you.
with these Ultimates and them having his mouth out?
I don't get it, man.
Even 20 years ago. I was like, why do they keep putting his mouth out?
I don't know, man. I don't get it. But anyway, so Ultimate Black Panther is one of the better books going. He is a charter member of the Avengers still, even right now, even though he is the displaced king of Wakanda, because Wakanda is now a democracy, not a monarchy.
See. Now I asked you this earlier, and you was like, "Wakanda's Wakanda." No, it's not. So they've ruined Wakanda.
They have, and I put that on the writer that. Okay, so you remember the Intergalactic Empire of Wakanda?
Of course,
you remember that, right? So the writer that took up the book after that, the black guy? No. That was Ta-Nehisi Coates. He still had some good stuff. He didn't turn Wakanda into a monarchy. That didn't happen until the guy after Ta-Nehisi.
But
Coates.
even with Ta-Nehisi, it was like them books was kind of like the anime you like. Like it's like his books. I didn't like the artwork and Ta-Nehisi's and the story. It was just a lot of like. And listen, I understand you are a award-winning writer.
Yeah.
But this ain't the place for that.
I feel like what he was trying to do with Wakanda in those books, he was trying to expand the lore around Wakanda, which I appreciated in certain aspects. It did devalue T'Challa in that the focus wasn't solely on him; it was on a lot of the citizens and the different lands of Wakanda and stuff like that. I appreciated it. Like as someone that really enjoys deep lore, I appreciated that. However, it did start to put T'Challa on this path of you remember the big knock on Batman. What was always the big knock on Batman?
That he wouldn't kill.
No, not that, because we know T'Challa clearly will do that.
There we go.
Clearly will do that. But no, the big knock on T'Challa on Bruce was that he was a paranoid asshole, didn't trust anybody, and he always had secrets on top of secrets that he never told anybody.
Yes,
right?
yes.
They wrote T'Challa like Bruce. In the books, they started writing T'Challa like Bruce. He was paranoid all the time. He had secrets upon secrets, and when those secrets were exposed, he doubled down on them. But people didn't receive it well because when you decided to do this without, you hurt us
for sure.
Because you wanted to keep secrets and because you couldn't open up and trust nobody,
for sure,
right?
For sure.
He even did that to Storm, which shattered their relationship. Shattered it, like almost irrevocably.
Which
shattered
was
it
because somebody wrote it.
Correct, right? Because somebody wrote it. Now that sent T'Challa down on this path where it started because of his secrets, because of the way he was always operating in that I'm the king, what I say goes, that kind of shit. You know,
and he wasn't even always like that either.
Right. He wasn't, right. And
that's what I'm trying to tell you.
I didn't like that.
That's
right?
what I'm trying to tell you.
This was written by a black man, which is I didn't get and I didn't understand and I didn't like it. And I know we got to wrap it up soon.
We'll finish this once the show is over. Right. I wouldn't have this conversation publicly.
No. I did not like that aspect of it, but it was what it was. So T'Challa is where he is. They're taking him on a character journey. My hope is that T'Challa will be fully restored back to the T'Challa that you and I really enjoyed, the Reginald Hudlin, the Christopher Priest version of T'Challa.
Was on top of the
want
world.
That one back. Yes, he was on top of the world. He was the best Marvel character.
And then,
an unapologetically proud black man that didn't act like some kind of an asshole, but he was he stood up for his people.
Exactly. He was fair. He stood up for his people.
Yes.
He protected his people.
Yeah.
But he was fair. He wasn't this pompous ass with these secrets.
There was these two writers, and I'm not saying Ta-Nehisi started on this path, but he definitely helped kick it off. But there was this concerted deconstruction of T'Challa that is what we're seeing now, right, in the books. And it just so happens to coincide with the passing of Chadwick Boseman and Coogler saying, hey, don't recast T'Challa and do this because we want to honor Chadwick's memory, which you and I both said from the jump is a stupid idea. We both said that.
Because he's not the Black Panther.
He's not the Black Panther. He is the guy who played the Black Panther.
Just like Christopher Reeve. We keep it rolling.
Christopher Reeve was my favorite Superman of all time. When he passed away and he couldn't do it anymore, I wasn't going to say, well, no one can play Superman.
No, you pay your respects.
No, you pay respects, you move on. Adam West was personified Batman for the longest time. He never said, oh, well, I can be the only Batman.
The voice of Darth Vader wanted the people to continue to enjoy his voice.
Yes.
And now the people are enjoying his via voice. AI.
Hey, man.
The show must go on.
In a way, that makes me wish we could get Conroy to be Batman forever. I would love that.
That would be great.
But that's neither here nor there. Conroy didn't sign away his rights. I digress.
What can you do?
What can you do? Anyway, it is after 10 o'clock. We got to get ready to wrap up the show now. We had a lot of fun.
Don't be like that.
We have really enjoyed entertaining you overall this time.
Yes.
We appreciate you guys hanging out there with us. We hope you enjoyed all of the topics that we talked about today. The fellas will be back next week,
sure.
So the couches will be full. But I really enjoyed hanging out with you.
Pleasure was all
chopping
mine.
it up, man. So for my friend the great Megashawn, damn, I was about to go into my whole diatribe. For my friend Megashawn, I'm Kashir. We hope you guys have a great week. Check you out later. Have a good one.
Thank you for watching.